So, how Santisima Muerte came to me, it was at a place in time where I was definitely working on my craft, my power, my magic, and it just happened on a Thursday. I was, creating orders one by one by hand, and out of nowhere, I get a spiritual punch to the gut. It felt like death was standing in the room, and death is menacing, it is stunning, magnificent. And mind you, I knew nothing of Santisima Muerte. I knew nothing of her at this time. But she came to me without telling me who she was at first. She didn't tell me who she was. She showed me who she was. Like, if you're gonna fuck with her, just make sure you're gonna be ready for a grand entrance. She came to me and told me that she had a task for me. I accepted because, of course, why wouldn't I? This is an aura in and of itself. You know what I mean? So I was going to most certainly do it. The next day, I received a phone call from a friend that I haven't seen in years. This friend told me that another mutual friend, I'm going to call him Manuel because that's his name, and I give respect to him because he's on the ancestor altar now. But she told me that he committed suicide, or at least attempted to commit suicide. It was unsuccessful, and he found himself in a coma. This was on a Friday. I get this call. And of course, I'm heartbroken, I'm sad, but there's, everything happens for a reason. I'm like, why is she calling me and we haven't spoken to each other in almost 10 years. I mean, I'm grateful that she did, but it was just odd. So I immediately found a task in that, which was to transition him out of limbo. So I did so. I proceeded in ritual, I proceeded in spell work over the weekend. And of course, everything's heightened at this time. My spell work, my magic, my communication with spirits is extremely heightened. And it was like I was definitely partaking of the task that I agreed to. On Sunday, later that Sunday, I find out that he finally passed on. Now, later down the line, I would say about maybe a week later, I figure out what this deity is. But she showed me who she was. And I found out through a story. One of the Santisima Muerte's stories is that she took Jesus, Emmanuel, off the cross to fulfill his agreement to the underworld in hell. And of course, he rises on the third day or Sunday. I find working with Most Holy Death herself, she's always right next to you. She's always with you. To be fearful of her is a waste of your time. Honestly, befriend her, understand her. She's a beautiful deity, and she's heavy, she's deep, she's rooted in all of us. But she showed me who she was through this story. It took me over the weekend to help him transition over. And I'm grateful for that opportunity because, of course, that's a dear friend, but I find everything to be, there's always a connection. You know what I mean? Taking Emmanuel off the cross, my friend Manuel hung himself. It took him a couple days in that limbo state to handle business, but on that third day, he was finally able to transition over. It was also a gift to me because I don't think I would have found her in the capacity that I found her or met her the same way if I didn't work with my friend Manuel trying to transition. He was a Mexican. He dealt with the Catholicism, the spirituality on that aspect, and when he attempted suicide, she went right over to me. And it was a gift, honestly. It was a fucking gift. And I'm grateful for that connection. I'm grateful for what he left me with here. And it was just the understanding. It's the friendship, it's the respect, it's the bond that I have with Santisima Muerte, the one most holy death, the bone lady. You know what I mean? That entity in itself is dense, it's heavy, it's thick, and it's to be respected. She hasn't left my side since. You definitely want to set an altar up for her. You want to pay respects to her. You want to offer her tidings and blessings and watch her look after you. Watch her take care of the shit that you don't see. You know what I mean? But don't ever for 1 minute think that you are away from her, because she's right next to you. You know what I mean? So definitely pay respects, be grateful. Yeah, and that's the story of how I met Santisima Muerte.